So a massive piece of lost media has officially been found, that being the Family Guy original pilot test kind of episode. This is like the crude, very raw pilot, almost proof of concept that was used to pitch Family Guy to big networks back when it was first starting out. And obviously it worked, with Family Guy being one of the longest running adult animated series ever. And I gotta say, those first 4 or 5 seasons of that show were just so funny. I remember absolutely loving it as a kid. Plus, Seth MacFarlane's career has flourished. He's had other shows like American Dad, as well as a bunch of movies like A Million Ways to Die in the West, Ted, and the new Ted TV series. So when I saw the news, I wanted to take a little bit of a deeper look at the unaired Family Guy pilot pitch episode and talk about what I thought. What's up guys, Mike here. Welcome back to the channel. For more content like this, hit the subscribe button now. Let's get into it. So there has been a little bit of confusion around this pilot, which resurfaced very recently. I think the main confusion is, one, it is essentially a smaller version of the actual first episode of Family Guy. I believe it's called Death Has a Shadow. And two, a condensed version of this 15-minute pilot version was actually included as a DVD bonus feature back in the day as a 7-minute version. So really, there's about 8 minutes of new content here that has never been seen before, and up until this point has been lost. And I always find the origins of these shows to be so interesting, because there's often so many little tweaks or changes in the pilot that don't end up making it to the real show. For example, in the unaired Bob's Burgers pitch pilot, Tina actually doesn't appear, and the oldest child is actually instead a older brother. And other examples include Seinfeld's pilot episode, which actually doesn't include Elaine at all. A lot of the pieces of Family Guy's DNA exist in this pilot, including the crude humor and especially the cutaway gags, which is what the show has kind of become infamous for.
You think that's bad? Remember the time I got a salmon helmet from Muhammad while wearing a toga?
And the core Griffin family are of course all there. Peter, Lois, Chris, Meg, and Stewie. Oh, and the family dog Brian as well. At this stage of the series development, Stewie was more the diabolical evil kind of character, and that did carry into the original show, but it's kind of simmered down a lot. It's more Stewie being like a camp character now.
Hey, where you drinking that Chardonnay?
One of the first few changes I saw was that Chris Griffin is definitely not being voiced by Seth Green in this. Seth Green has done the iconic Chris Griffin voice throughout the entire series, but in this short, it is someone else. I'm not 100% certain of this, but I will say I'm about 99% certain that Seth MacFarlane is doing this version of Chris Griffin, and it doesn't sound anything like what Seth Green's interpretation of the character is.
Hey Dad, you ever think of welfare?
So it's interesting to see that this was the kind of sound that Seth MacFarlane maybe envisioned for Chris when he first created the character. And to be honest, I'm very glad they didn't go down that route and changed it to Seth Green. And of course, over time in all of these shows, character voices kind of change and evolve as they go. I mean, Stewie sounds very different here. Peter probably sounds the closest to what he would eventually sound like. Meg here is actually not voiced by Mila Kunis, who is the current voice actor, but nor is she voiced by Lacey Chabert. She was actually the original voice actor for Meg in the first season of the show before she was replaced or fired, or I don't actually know what went down there. But in this pilot, it is actually Seth MacFarlane's sister, Rachel MacFarlane, that is voicing Meg, which is interesting to know.
Hey, Dad gave me $2,000 for raking the yard.
You might be familiar with her voice acting. She does voice a bunch of recurring characters in the newer seasons of Family Guy, but she actually is the voice of Haley, the teenage daughter in Seth MacFarlane's other show, American Dad. And to be honest, for the replacements of like Chris and Meg's voices, I feel like this was just a cost thing. And having Seth do the voice of Chris and Seth's sister do the voice of Meg was probably a cheaper option than actually going out and getting like proper voice actors, I suppose. Quagmire is also in this, but looks and sounds completely different, to the point where I imagine Quagmire wasn't even invented as a character yet. But in the actual pilot that ended up going to air, this character from the pitch pilot becomes Quagmire and has all of the same lines. Another piece of Family Guy DNA that I guess was envisioned from the start was the newsreaders. Diane is still Diane, but Tom Tucker is not called Tom Tucker. He is in fact called Mike, which is my name. Just while I've got you, most people who watch my videos don't subscribe to my channel, so if you're one of those people, I'm trying to hit 10k subs by the end of the year, and I think I can with your help, so please hit that subscribe button now. And Mr. Weed, Peter Griffin's boss from some of the early seasons, who I think had like a French or Spanish accent in the actual show, is just another American dude. One glaring omission of a gag in this episode is the famous Kool-Aid guy gag from the court scene at the end. In the real pilot episode that went to air on television, this is what happens.
Oh no.
Oh no!
Oh no.
Oh yeah!
But in this, the Kool-Aid guy does not make an appearance. Maybe they hadn't thought of the joke yet, and so this happens instead.
No.
Oh no. Oh no.
Oh no.
Oh no.
Oh no.
To be honest, the Kool-Aid guy gag is one of my favorite gags that I remember from Family Guy back in the day, so I'm really glad that ended up becoming a thing. Overall, this is a really interesting thing to resurface, and as someone who's really into this stuff, I found it really interesting to go back and watch it. Like I said, TV pilots and concepts are so fascinating to see how these shows and ideas originally developed, and to be honest, it looks like a lot of Family Guy's DNA was there from the start, which is very cool to see. Whew, thank you so much for watching, guys. Hey, if you like this video, make sure you subscribe to my channel, and I'd love for you to comment below. Have you watched it? What do you think? Do you still watch Family Guy? I've kind of given it up. I mean, I gave it up a long time ago because I just didn't find it funny anymore, but maybe it's still good. Let me know down in the comments. If you made it to the end, but you don't know what to comment, but you want to comment to help me out in the algorithm, which is a good thing to do, by the way, just comment below freaking sweet. That's what Peter says. You know what it means. I know what it means. Leave it down there and I know you made it to the end. While I've got you, I'm all over the internet doing dumb stuff that I think is cool. I have a blog, I have a podcast, all the links are down below. And if you want to watch another one of my videos, YouTube thinks you could like this one here, but I also have a playlist of all my videos right here, so click that and keep watching. That's pretty much it from me. My name is Radio Mike. This has been The Inside of My Mind, and I will catch you in the next one.